expected. I thought that the hearing today was phenomenal. I'm going to give this a few minutes for the notifications to come out. It's probably going to take this thing 20, 30 minutes or so, or because I know that when I go live, it's always that spare moment. But I always promise you guys I'll go live with better footage so I can start showing stuff in my blue screen behind me. So we'll give this a minute for everybody to get these notifications. I will be right back. Waiting for you guys. Hopefully this did go public. If not, I may have to redo the go live notification. But we'll see in just a minute. Trying to plug another phone in. Unconventional go live, but I need to talk to you guys about what happened today. So it's going on. A couple people are joining on, so we'll give this a few minutes. And then we're just going to have an open discussion. About 4 people are on. Let's see. Comments are turned on. Top chats. Let's see. We need live chat. There we go. All right. If you guys are on, if someone can say hi. There we go. Oh, yeah, Freddie. So I'm just going to jump right into this. This was, to me, Ricky said he just woke up. What happened? So basically, Congress had a meeting today about UAPs. I'm still going to say UAPs because I'll say UAP for the sake of arguments. But they had a meeting today with 3 whistleblowers, and David Kirsch was among them. And the other day, there were 2 other guys in there. The Navy pilot that saw the Tic Tac UFO, he was there, and then another guy. And they had about a 2.5-hour meeting. And some people were upset because they didn't show video. To me, that didn't matter about whether they showed video or not, because if they show video, we know it's going to be some BS video like they did last year. And I'm glad they didn't. But the questions that were asked were the questions that needed to be asked in a public setting like it was. Now, we didn't get all the answers that we wanted to get because David Gersh is, some of it's confidential or classified, so he can't expose that to the public yet. But Congress can. Congress can hear what he's got to say, and then they can expose it out there, because there's certain things, if he does expose classified information, he can go to jail for it. So he was really cautious. But I did do a post. I think I did 1 or 2 posts. I did a post the other day about a minute, and there's a link to it. It's a 2.5-hour long meeting, and I'm actually going to do a breakdown over the next day or 2. And I started putting up YouTube shorts about it. But it was actually really good. I think there's more comments coming in. If you guys can, smash that like button for me too. So yeah, he's at work and he's listening. I appreciate it. If you guys can, smash that like button. But it boiled down to the questions that were asked and the answers that were given for the questions. And that's what I personally was more impressed with and wanted to hear more than anything else. So yeah, Freddie says he never heard the 1930s incident. I didn't either. Some of the stuff I'm going to have to look up and see with that. But he says, Andy says, why is YouTube throttling your channel? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Andy, when you say throttling my channel. You mean probably filtering or not letting information out? It could be a billion and one things, y'all. I don't know. But go and behold. Oh, thank you, Andy. I appreciate it. I need to quit being so lazy because I do have some footage to show to you guys. I did find my document about the moon. I told you guys I had that. I got a PDF that shows some of the original footage from the moon landing on the moon landing in the 70s, but it does show some interesting stuff on there. But go and behold, I just thought that meeting that they had today was very, very, very good. They have the video on PBS. Yeah, they have it on PBS, and they have it on space.com too. I think it's Watch Space Now or something, a YouTube channel. But I put a link in the description to a video I posted that was like a minute long earlier. But I wanted to just talk about it because they had some phenomenal questions that needed to be asked and that were also being answered too. Yeah, I wish David had more time as well. But see, he can only expose so much right now. But I guarantee you, after that meeting, that hearing they had today, the meeting they had today, I guarantee they probably took a lunch break and they took David in a private room and they probably talked to him. I guarantee, because he did release classified information from what I heard when he was on what was it, Nation News TV or something. He did talk about releasing some information to certain people in Congress and stuff. But all in all, I think it was a huge step forward, especially compared to what we got last year. Last year was some BS. They showed some BS footage that wasn't anything clear, just to kind of just discredit it. And then this one, they actually talked about it. And like I said, I personally am glad they did not show any videos, because had they had showed videos, it probably would have been some BS stuff and that would have made everybody upset and that would have took more time. I would rather for them to go about it how they did, answering the questions as they did. And they seemed like they had some people that were really interested in finding out what's going on. Some of the topics that were covered was one of the things I think they would actually talk about was some of the budgets. I can't remember the chairman's name, but he mentioned about the White House being audited, and there's always $1 billion plus in missing money and stuff, and there's no issues with that. But if you or I, if we have a problem, if we're off by $50, we'll get charged $500 for it. So he talked about that, and then they actually asked David about some of the funding for it, and he couldn't disclose that, but he agreed upon what they talked about. But he has to be, I guess, like I said, more in a secure area. That was kind of his thing. He needs to be more in a secure area to talk about that, and he has to make sure people have the security clearance for it as well. So, but I don't know. What do you guys think about it? There's a lot that went on with that. So, oh man, hold on. Some people are. So I don't want to make this just about me rambling on, but someone said they just quit their job today. Oh man, I hope it was a good quit and not a forced quit. Someone said they saw 4 UFOs in person. Wow. Oh man, did you get? You probably didn't. Did you get any video footage of it? So, Freddie says I'll have plankton. A good quit. Okay, that's good. Well, congratulations then on that, because it's sometimes it can be nerve wracking with jobs and stuff. But I'm glad you were able to have a good quit on that. So. Yeah, that's who. So they talked, like I said, they talked about the audit and stuff. And I'm pretty sure, because the people that they had in there, he said, I've seen 10 of them a few weeks ago. If you guys can, please get the footage. If you guys can. I don't care that people are complaining that the UFO footage we have is never clear. It's blurry and stuff. Sometimes you panic when you see it, and you just get something out in film. That's all it is to it. I saw something the other night. I literally was, about last week, I was taking groceries out of my car, and I looked up in the sky, and there were some clouds, and there were a few stars, which I thought were stars, but they weren't. They were actually craft. I saw some white lights, about 3 or 4 floating around, and I was going to get out and film it, but you wouldn't have been able to see it, and I didn't even mention it. And I was thinking about filming it and then taking it and try to enhance it, but they were going in and out the clouds and stuff, and I just said, I'm not going to film it. But I just added it to my UFO notes that I saw something. So now it's going to be clearer tonight, so I'll go out there tonight. But there's clearly stuff you guys can see at night if you go out there. But anyway, back to the meeting today. I liked it personally. I liked the questions that were asked, and I liked the answers that were given. I wish that they had Bob Lazar on that panel, or at least Bob Lazar down there answering questions. Hopefully, if they do it again, they'll get him down there. So, Andy says they let the graves of abducted people out of national parks in exchange for tech. Too much blood on their hands to come clear. Yeah, oh yeah, it's a lot. I mean, we've got probably stuff that people have not lived through. That's the best way we can put it. But that was brought up too. Have people been hurt, injured, and David Gersh said he can confirm that, but he can't mention names with it, which I don't blame him. So that was talked about too. They covered, to me, all the basic questions that we would want to know. They even covered, I'm reading some of these comments too. Freddie says, I have a footage. I can send it sometime, since if I can see you sometime, you don't have email. Well, Freddie, if you got Instagram or something like that, hit me up there. I'm trying to get a fictitious number for this channel so people can, I don't want to do it too much, so I'm going to get a bunch of texts. And I do have a couple of interesting fans out there. That's the best way I'll put it. But we'll see. I have to get a better way where people can start sending me information. Email is one of the best. I did get a bigger box and stuff, but I have to maybe do something. I don't know. Because I have to be cautious of when I put stuff out, people can actually load. Because they could load a virus or something. I can download that trying to open something up. But anyway, yeah, Instagram is UFO conspiracies, as plural, 01. And you should see my logo there. But I also have JTRC Instagram too. So it's normally in all my videos. It's not in this live video, but it's normally in all my videos, my Instagram, if you guys want to send me some stuff there, because I do have some footage from other users. I haven't been able to put out because it's not too clear, but I need to just go ahead and do those videos and put them out there because some people saw some stuff at night, kind of like what I saw, and it wasn't clear, which is why I didn't even bother filming it. But I should probably put it out there because people have taken the time to email me some of the information, even though it's not clear to me. It may be clear to someone else and they may have seen it. So I'll try to, over the next day, I may do it tonight, just get these videos together and just start posting everything I got. I've been trying to like post maybe once or twice a week or 2 or 3 times, but I may just start posting whenever and just leave it at that. Because some people say they want more. Some people say, oh, once or twice a week's good. So we'll see. Oh, Eric says Bob Lazar refused the invite. Do you have information on that, or factual information on that? Not saying I don't believe you, but I would like to know why he refused to go. Because Lazar would have been great to be there. Because Bob Lazar has not had a filter since he came public. I think, and people have talked about that. And the thing I think that's kept Bob Lazar safe is Element 115. I just think that he may have some of that. And we'll leave that at that. But I wish Bob Lazar had got on that panel because they could have asked him questions too. They could have left the other 3 they had on there and had Bob Lazar on there and said, did you work at Area 51, the S4 division? He could have said yes. And did you work on what could be considered extraterrestrial craft or craft not of this planet? And he could have said yes. And he could have answered questions that David Gersh did not answer. But he would have answered them from his standpoint of what he actually physically saw and touched and worked on. And what he did probably wasn't classified. So he could have talked about that. I think that David is, of course, under an NDA and he's under certain rules and restrictions. And I commend him for following that because most people that come out would just put it out there. But he knows that there could be consequences for that. So he's doing things by the book, which is good. And it was all factual information. It wasn't Jane Doe from the hood or Billy Bob from out in the woods talking about he saw a blue UFO, was this and that. They did mention one craft that they saw. I think the guy said, I can't remember his name, but he said it was, I think he said it might have been triangular in shape and it was red and it was the size of a football field. And then somebody asked him about the Phoenix Lights and then they actually came with information. They said, well, I wasn't around that time and I don't have information on it, but they were aware of the incident. So it wasn't like they said the Phoenix Lights, and because we only know from what we've seen out there in eyewitness testimonies, someone could easily say, yeah, I know about the Phoenix Lights, but they didn't. They actually stuck to the facts and stuck to the truth, to what they knew. So I thought that was great with that. So let me go back to a couple of these. I wish Lazar was on the panel as well, especially for, confirmation. Caden says, I'm more into RC planes, but I got a nitro truck too. I'll get a nitro truck at some time. You guys know I have an RC car channel too, but I want to talk about this UFO stuff. I want to hear you guys' opinions and thoughts on it because I'm impressed with it, and I'm going to be doing some shorts on it. I'm going to be doing particular video breakdowns, and since some stuff was put out there, I can talk more about it, and the stuff that was confidential, we'll see how that goes. So show us the ships, show us the bodies. No more footing around. Yeah, and I think the reason why he hasn't done that is because it was still confidential, and he will get probably in trouble if he will get in trouble if he puts that out there. But he can show that to Congress, and Congress can, especially that panel they had today, they're going to expose us. I mean, the main chairman that was kind of running it was talking about, we can't just go in and storm Area 51 because they'll pack everything up. But I guarantee you that's going to happen at some point in time. They're going to go there in Nellis Air Force Base, and they're going to start demanding stuff because they've been there before from what some people were saying, and they got turned or pushed around. But with this being out and it's being on the news just about everywhere now, and it's going to be talked about a lot more, this is a huge, huge leak, guys. It really, really is. And I had mentioned before that some disclosure is going to come this year. It may not be the disclosure that we want or what we're looking for, but it's going to be disclosure, and they're going to talk more about this stuff. I don't need to see any more FOIRs, ships and bodies. Time for the truth. Yeah, that's what I want to know. Bring this out there. So Freddie says he has clear footage for both types of ETs from the Vegas incident. Freddie, send that over, because I'm still skeptical of that. The whole Vegas incident you guys know about, I've been back and forth. The only thing I believe was the alien possibly behind the fence. There was something back there, but looking at the original footage, I couldn't see it. So I just divorced that whole thing. I don't care that the family didn't want to get ridiculed and stuff like that. That could have been if it happened like that, that could have been one of the most important UFO sightings thus far. If they actually had aliens in their yard and they were filming them. I personally would have not, I mean, I wouldn't have run. I would have shot some video. I would have got clear video. I would have walked back there on them. I mean, literally, I would have walked on them. I mean, they were already armed. Not like it's going to do anything, because I've heard about particular alien beings and weapons and some stuff that can happen if you actually fire a weapon and stuff around them. So that could be interesting. I'm not talking about Phil Schneider's incident either. I'm talking about other stuff. But anyway, he said the UFO community had been shunning him for so long, he didn't want to assist. Oh, he must be talking about Bob Lazar. See, he's talking to the wrong people. He's got Jeremy Corbell backing him up. I ain't know about it, but he got me backing him up. But he's got certain people backing him up. Yeah, they did affirm S4 too. They did talk about that. They did talk about Area 51 and stuff. But he needs to get, as they say, the right people on his bus. That's what he needs to do. If he does that, I think he'll be good. He's going to get ridiculed. Everybody does. You're always going to have your haters. You're always going to have your naysayers, your doubters. I don't care who you are. You can be between Mayweather, Rocky Marciano, especially Rocky Marciano, undefeated, 49 fights, and he did it in a quarter of the time Mayweather did. And there's still people, well, he did this and that. They don't understand. There's always going to, no matter what you do, what you achieve, no matter what you say, especially if it's the truth, there's always going to be issues. So I think Bob should have been on there. He should not have denied it. Jeremy Corbell needs to talk to him, and Gene they need to talk to him and say, Bob, you got to be on this. We got to get you out here next time, because he's the one that brought a lot of this to light, in my opinion, especially in the 80s when he came out about Area 51, the S4 division he worked at, the sport model he worked on, the craft he saw. Some people are saying his story is contradictory, because he said that in one instance, the ships that they worked on were part of an archaeological find. But then again, another, he said they were part of the Zeta Reticuli system or whatever. But people don't understand is he saw nine craft. He mentioned that. He said when he walked in there were the hangar bay doors were open, and he saw 9 different craft that had 9 different shapes. And one of those craft was tilted on its side, and he said it looked like he had a projectile was shot through it or something. So he never said that the sport model that he found or the craft that he worked on, where it was from, whether it was part of the archaeological find or it was something else. But he did mention that. I think that he's told this story so many times, and he's just been burned out, that he's older now, that it just sometimes it just gets interesting, but he's probably just so tired of it. But anyway, back to some of these questions. We could feed and give electricity to all the people of the earth. That's going to be a while back. I mean, that's going to be a long time away. I know there's some cover up for that. And I think part of this, and this is just my thought process, even if the tech gets exposed, and even if we start trying to give away free energy, it's going to create more than just people not paying electric bills. It's going to put a hole in the economy worldwide, because I think that a lot of people are not realizing how many jobs and how many people are employed just from electricity. You're not thinking about just the power plants and stuff. You're thinking about people that create the light bulbs and all kinds of stuff, batteries. There's going to be a lot of jobs being lost if that stuff comes out. So it will put a hole in the economy. I mean, it could recover maybe a little bit later, but you have to think about that, not just not paying your electric bill and being free anymore. You have to think about all the aspects that surround around, and that's including, even gas-based engine stuff. I know they're trying to push electric cars, and by, was it 2030 35 or something, they don't want to have any more electric car. I mean, any more gas cars created, which I think it is what it is. I have my own thoughts on that because I saw on Facebook where somebody had an electric car. It hit 50,000 miles. They had to get a new battery, and the new battery cost $50,000, and they had to get the battery for the car. And I'd be like, no, I would drive my car off the cliff like Homer Simpson. So, aliens have dope tech. Yes, they do. Yep, Jeremy Corbell and Gene was both in the front row. They were right behind him. So if I said, if you guys haven't checked that out, check it out. It's worth 2.5 hours. It's better than sitting down and watching an Avengers movie or something if you're into UFOs and you're into this, because the questions that were asked, and I need to go back and rewatch it because there was some stuff I possibly missed. I did see a short and I did put some stuff out, but there's some stuff I possibly missed because I was trying to do some stuff back and forth. But it was really good. I mean, I may do a Q&A where somebody asked a question and then they gave the answer. And then I may do something like that so we can kind of get to some of the more important stuff that's out there. So stay tuned for that. So I just sent you a video my mom took. Okay. Did you send it through email or did you send it through Instagram? Because I'm looking at my email right now. I don't see anything just yet, but I will check it out. Okay, so back to some of these questions. This better not be. Yeah, it could be Andy, but I at this point I don't even get involved in the politics and politics. It was a very, very, very good hearing. It really was. I was highly impressed. When it started off, I was like, "Oh, here we go," but then they jumped straight into it, and it was almost like it was a comfortable thing. Like the one last year, I felt that people were on edge, and there were some people that were supposed to be there that didn't show up to this. They were probably trying to cover themselves, who knows? But I didn't feel like it was like the one they had last year where they showed us something, but they didn't show us something. Like the BS footage they showed last year, I was like, no, 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 no. Don't even show anything. If you're going to show that, don't show anything at all. And don't show us the stuff we've already seen. But I think David Gersh is going to he's going to be the one to help expose this stuff more than anybody else out there. Him and Bob Lazar actually need to be out there. I mean, they just need to have Bob out there. And I'm trying to think of somebody else, but they need to get some of these people that have actually worked in this stuff. So, yeah, Freddie, send me all this stuff. If you got all this footage and military footage, send it over to me. Send it to my email. If you can't get that, hit me up on Instagram. Make sure it's you, and then I can we can find a way you can load it to my Google Drive or something, or you can send a Google Drive link over to my email if you have that, and that may be a way I start going about it. So, but yeah, send this stuff over to me, man. I mean, I need to get better at this, and I do apologize to you guys. Some people say, "Oh, don't apologize to you," but I get busy with stuff. But I need to start getting some of this footage out. Like I said, I got some footage from a couple of people. I even have a couple people I communicate with on a weekly basis that have actually showed me videos. There was one guy that was skiing, and he was filming himself skiing, and there was a UFO behind him. And there was another guy who was working and doing a project, and I think he was reconstructing a house or a bus or something. And one of the small, I don't know what we call those little rod UFOs, actually just flew right by. I mean, literally, it's crazy. Some of the stuff that's out there, and some of the stuff I try to put out there on YouTube, but sometimes you do get warnings and stuff. So I just hadn't been able to put that out. But so let's see. Boss says, "Yo, aliens touched up on humans. Yo, cows for experiments," and it could be one or two things. I mean, if you guys watch Stephen Greer's disclosure in mid-June. He did talk about one guy who met up with an alien, or was a UFO that landed somewhere in the desert, and a woman came out, and his wife was there, but he experienced a lot of stuff. He ended up going through divorce and stuff, and I need to revisit his, but he did talk about that. And I'd say out of everything with the David Gear thing he did back in June, I took one or two things from there that was really important. One was that they did talk about the gray aliens. And I believe, and I don't want to misquote this stuff, but basically, I think one of them got kicked or something and it fell down, and its side opened up and he had like a circuit board or whatever in there. And when he talked about them probably being like robotic or androids, I immediately thought about the KGB footage from the 1960s that shows the gray aliens, the one that's kind of moving around, the one that's walking. and people are saying the footage is fake, it looks like a puppet. Well, if they are actually android beings, or if they are actually androids or robots, that would explain kind of the way they moved. Which I may do a video on that and say, are they really aliens or are they androids? Because I've heard of people talking about the reason why their heads are so big is because I'm going to say operating system and all the mechanics are inside their head, and that's what helps to move everything else around. They don't need these, the bodies are pretty strong to hold those heads up, but all the mechanics are in their head. And then I've heard that some people say that there's inside their head is a little being in there. Young Justice actually did a cartoon about 3 or 4 years ago where Lobo came down to grab a senator, and the Justice League or the Young Justice League was trying to stop him. I think it was Wonder Girl and somebody else was trying to stop him, and they couldn't stop Lobo, and he ended up splitting the guy in half, and there was a little alien being inside there. So that could be true. How true all that is, and sometimes they just leak stuff out. But I always thought that was interesting, and that kind of refer back to the gray aliens with the big head. So how true all that is, I don't know, but I'll probably do a video about that just to show you guys and then get everybody's comments and feedback on it. So anyway, let's get back to some of these. David says, do you think that the shadow government is trading and selling technology that they are re-engineering? I don't think they're selling and trading like they would other stuff. You guys know what I mean when I say that. People in pharmaceutical stuff, that's the best way I can put that. I do believe that there is this one shadow government that's up there that has control of a lot of this stuff. I do believe even what Ben Rich said, he said we now have the technology to take ET home. There was some conferences about that. But as far as the trading and stuff goes, I don't think they're trading with other people in other countries. I think they do it at a lower tier level for war purposes. I know that there was talk about that too. And I know that, I can't remember the guy's name, but a couple of years ago, I watched a guy who talked about the CIA. Since you asked, I'm just going to I'm jumping off topic, but I'm going to jump back in the UFO stuff. But he said that there was kind of three ways the government kind of goes in and takes control of a country. First way was with bribery or money. The second way was to send the wolves in, like, assassins and stuff like that. And then the third way is to send the military in. And he gave an instance of each one of them where the U.S. tried to go in and take over a particular country. And, I think he said, I can't remember the name of the place, but he said one place offered them money. The guy had money, so they wouldn't take the money. So they sent what they call the jackals in, which causes some of the assassinations we see out there. And then he said the example of the military was Saddam Hussein. So I don't know how true all that is, but it makes sense if you look at history and kind of how all that went about. So I know that was kind of off subject with that, David, but I don't think they're selling it. I think that they keep it for themselves and they expose stuff little by little to give us certain technological advances with certain things. With that, I mean, you think about in the 1940s, how, all that came about, circuit boards and stuff. I don't know if they got that from an alien craft or they saw something similar and they gave somebody the idea, well, we can't actually replicate that, but we can do this, and fiber optics and stuff came along. But I don't think they're selling it like that. I think they may be just giving it to the public. So, Bob needs to get out there. After seeing this today, I hope Bob watches it and I hope he gets out there. I know he's worried about, his business and all that stuff, but he needs to get out there. He needs to do this. I think that as long as he's been doing it since 88, 98, 2008, 40 years or whatever, or almost 40 years, he needs to get out there and he needs to start talking about this. I think that he owes that to us before anything happens. So no way Bob was swearing before Congress that he went to MIT. Yeah, he may not. I mean, I think he went there, but I don't think he graduated. I think that I put some stuff up, and I put about 4 videos about Bob several months ago. He was actually, it was a 1991 press conference. He did our open conference, and he talked about his educational stuff. And I think I put some shorts up about that. He talked about he went to a particular college. He never graduated from certain ones, so he talked about that. And he may have went to MIT, and maybe it was too much for him. I don't know. But he could swear, and they wouldn't ask him stuff about, well, they did ask about their credentials. So, but he could say, I'm Bob Lazar, and this is what I did. Because remember when he got in trouble with the thing he was doing, you guys know about that. And I think it was the late, I think it was 89, 90, where he got caught, doing some illegal stuff, put it that way. And he still went before Congress. And I think George Knapp was saying, well, this was his time to come clear. And he still swore by everything he said and did. He went here, he did this, he did that. And if he had lied about any of it, he would have gotten in trouble. And they actually confirmed his credentials then. So you guys have to look up some of that history of him. I mean, like I said, some people believe Bob, some people don't. I personally do. I don't think he's fabricated his story at S4. He may or may not have fabricated some of his educational credentials. I don't know. I don't care. He's one of the reasons why I'm kind of involved in this right here. He's one of the main reasons I got involved in this a lot more because of his stories was so fascinating. So, and I'll always stand behind Bob. So it is what it is. So, um, hopefully you found my Instagram. Like I said, you go to my previous videos, you'll see it in the description. I always put it in the description. I just don't promote my Instagram and stuff probably like I should. But because I actually can put out videos on Instagram that I'm not able to put out on YouTube, and you guys will see some of that. Sometimes you load a video to YouTube and you'll get a strike or something, or they'll say, "Hey, warning, this is this," so I take it off. And I do have a Rumble account, but I just stopped doing all of it because I was loading to all 3 accounts at one point in time. But anyway, let's go back to this. Oh, appreciate that. I said appreciate the hard work I put in. I try to put in more. I need to allocate more time to this, but I thought that today's hearing was very, very good, and I want to hear you guys' information on that. Please post the ships and buys as soon as you receive the footage. I will. Did you send that to Instagram? If you did, I will look at that, and then I will put that out there. How about that? I'm trying to look to see if there's anything here. Not yet. I'll have to look on my Instagram in just a minute. I'll have to look at them both and see. So androids and drones make sense. Yeah. I mean, it's there. Some of the stuff that they talked about in the David Gear. I don't know if you guys watched that, but I'll maybe do a review on that. I need to start doing more reviews and stuff like that because I talked to a friend earlier and I told him about Bob Lazar, and I thought everybody knows about Bob Lazar because we know about Bob Lazar, but he doesn't. So I need to do probably an overview of stuff. I need to do a timeline actually. I need to go back to the 1940s and then move forward up until today's date and make it maybe a 5 or 6 part series. It's going to be a long video and try to expose as much as I can that's been out there. And of course, if stuff is wrong, you guys can always put that in the comments but I need to do that so we go back, start back from the beginning and then go forward with it. So someone says, do you believe the government harbors alive aliens? I'm split on that. I don't think they harbor them. I think they are in communication. I think they are in sync with them. Whether they're aliens, demonic beings, interdimensional beings, beings that have been on this planet forever, and their technology is just more advanced than ours. I do believe that there is a certain group that is in contact with them. I'm not going to so much say the U.S. government, because I believe there's certain divisions of the U.S. government. I mean, we saw today with the congressmen, the chairman and stuff, they weren't able to get access to certain things. So I do believe that certain parts of the government are in communication with them or do have access to them. So Mike says some are bioorganic clones, slightly more advanced than us. Probably so. I mean, my whole skeptical, and I'm gonna put this out there because I get stuff on this. This is me, and take it with a grain of salt. I don't believe that they created us. I've always mentioned that from the very beginning, and I'll mention it now. Sorry if this disappoints people, but I don't believe that they created us. I do believe that God created us, and I do believe that He did it through His Son, Jesus Christ. I mean, some people are skeptical on that. I do believe that. I mean, because that's just, it is what it is. I mean, that could be up for debate forever until this stuff is exposed and the truth comes down. But I don't believe that, because if you look at us and you look at our anatomy and stuff, it is more advanced than any of these other creatures out there. I mean, look at the gray aliens, you look at the reptilians, the reptoids, what do they call them, the Nephilians? I mean, all that, even at that, our body structures and even the way we're created is a lot different. I mean, we have all kinds of different nationalities down here. We can literally increase our strength at will. I mean, all kinds of stuff. So to me, some of these things may be more technologically advanced because they've been around for a long time. But I think that, as we progress forward and stuff starts getting exposed, we'll start seeing a lot of that. But that's just, like I said, that's me with that. Okay, Karen says Bush did say biological. Okay, so that makes sense. He's got some information. I hope David comes out. I hope the stuff he comes out with, they actually expose it. Because he did mention he's never seen a UFO. He's just seen the documents and stuff on it. So I'm glad he actually said that. I'm glad he actually came out and clarified that. Because Because he could have easily said, well, yeah, I saw this UFO over here, but he didn't. He stuck to the facts and he stuck to truth. And that's all we need and that's all we want. I think that's what Lieutenant Favor said too. He's talked about, as we progress forward, guys, just stick to the facts. That's what he said. Just stick to the facts and information. Don't try to fabricate it. Don't try to make it out more than what it is. If you saw something, be it reported. I mean, they even mentioned that what was up to 5%. They think about 5% of the sightings were being reported. The other 95% haven't been reported because of fear of repercussions and all that. So hopefully these people start moving forward with this. So. Yeah, Mike, they use them. I've heard about that too. I've heard about them using them as workers and stuff. Remember they had the what was it called? The Android face or C3PO's mask. They found something on, I think it might have been on the moon. It looked like an Iron Man mask or something, or C3PO's face. And then that kind of disappeared. I don't know if that was debunked or not. But I think that was something that the Y-Files talked about when they did their moon landing video last week. And they said it was something they found on the moon. They showed a little image. I guarantee you that's what he's talking about. Because they did find, I think they called it an Android face or maybe C3PO. I can't remember. You guys may know in the comments. But they did find like a mask or something like that on the moon. And there was an actual photo of it just laying there like it was embedded into the moon or something. So, yeah, some UFOs could be drones too. I mean, they did mention about the cube-shaped UFO that was inside of a transparent cylinder or ball. They did mention that. David Gersh did mention that. Oh, no, not David, the other pilot. I can't think of his name right now. But he said they were flying and they kind of came in between them. They kind of departed. It's like it didn't even move. It didn't even care. So they did mention that. Whether that was a drone, maybe that could have been carrying something. I don't know. So Eric says, Skinny Bob. Yep, Skinny Bob may be an android. I mean, once I saw Dr. Greer's, his disclosure last month, it all made sense about the way Skinny Bob had moved. That it could have, because people say, oh, it looks like a puppet. That's a puppet. Maybe it was an android, if you think about it. I mean, just the way the thing moved, the way it blinked, the way it kind of did like this, maybe that's what it was. And even the ones walking, maybe they were all, androids or something. I don't know. But from what he showed in that sketch he had, when the guy said they opened it up on the side or he kicked it on the side, it had like a circuit board or something. I was like, that makes sense. So, all right, guys, I'm trying to get to you guys' comments. So if you put stuff down, please be patient as I will be getting to it. There are several fashions of grayish type beings who are not related. So it makes it confusing. Yeah. I mean, I saw a video on YouTube. They classified a couple hundred different alien beings, but they just had drawings. The most popular, of course, is the grays, the reptilians, the Nordics, I think it is, and the Nephilian type. I mean, and then you have stuff they talk about the Watchers and all that. But I think those are some of the major types that we've seen. The reptilians, and there was another type, the reptoids, I think they're calling it. I think some of this stuff, like I said, may have been here for a while. And maybe that goes back to the flood of Noah. Maybe that's the whole city of Atlantis being underwater and stuff. We don't know. But if something survived the flood, which it says in Genesis chapter 6, then the Nephilians survived the flood. And a small group of people did, and everybody else was perished. If those people were continuing with technology from 10 to 12,000 years ago, their technology would be a lot more advanced. So Freddie says there's 5 types of grays. I didn't know there was 5 types. So yeah, Freddie, I think that cow mutilation probably was us in doing certain things. I mean, the crop circles, that could be a whole nother thing too. I did watch the Y-Files video on the crop circles, and I'm glad he actually talked about some truth on that, because the true crop circles were kind of like magnetic in the way they were constructed and formed. So I'm glad he did put that out there, and he talked about a couple other things too with that. So he did expose some good stuff with that. So I was like, good job with that one. He does a good job anyway. So Andy says, which aliens are the good ones? Right now, the good aliens in my book are the one that's going to land outside and not be doing all this covering up or flying at night. If you're in synchronized or whatever with governments of the world or secret government stuff, just go land somewhere. Quit all the secrecy stuff. I mean, I know we're beating this dead horse and it's just not moving anymore, but stop with all the secrecy stuff. That's what makes a lot of people skeptical of this, is because Why are people always seeing this stuff at night, or why are they always seeing one or two ships flying around? If there is something out there, just come and do it. Don't do like the Phoenix lights and be flying at night where you can barely see it and all that. Let the Phoenix lights come out right now. Let them come on the city right now. I guarantee you there'll be a lot more footage of it. So as far as good ones, I don't know because they haven't exposed themselves. And if there is all this back and forth between this higher level of governments of the world and them, and they can't come to us, that means there is something being hidden and there is, some secrecy going on. But anyway. Freddie says one lizard, two types. There are others. Okay. Mike says, what are the 5 types of grays? Maybe he'll put them all there. He says, we are the aliens. I hope we're not. We are the aliens from Mars, the war planet. I met 3 types of grays, but I heard of others. So, Freddie, you have to give me some information or send me an email, talk about your story. Maybe I'll just do an interview or get you on here and go live or something. So, going through a couple of these comments, we have angelic and we have demonic forces with us at all times. Yes, sir, we do, Mike. We are the light and of source. Yeah, this is all getting pretty convoluted and confusing, but I think is actually getting cleared up with today's meeting because it's on the news everywhere. If you guys start searching, even Fox News had something. I saw some. I was like, oh, Fox and CBS is putting some stuff out. They're putting out little small cliplets, so. They even brought up the holograph projection equation. Yeah, there was some stuff that I missed. That's why I got to go back and watch it. I actually have downloaded the video, so I'm going to, just in case, but I know everybody downloaded it, because I want to do some snippets and stuff from it as well with it. So I'm getting a couple of messages with that. And sorry, I'm looking at a couple of things down here as well. Ricky says, I believe that there are fallen angels, all of them the same way. We're being deceived by our government, and the fallen ones are deceiving our government. And that's a possibility too. I'm not putting that past any of this at all. We just need more of the truth coming out and more facts, and not this behind the wall sneaky stuff. Whatever it is, it needs to come out. It needs to get exposed. Hopefully more whistleblowers will come forward that have actually seen stuff. We hoping that we have more people like Bob Lazar that come forward. He thought that some people that he had worked with would come forward too, since he did. But then again, Bob Lazar also regretted that he came forward. He just wished he would have kept his mouth shut and kept moving forward. But he was 21, 22 years old. And as he said, I thought this was an injustice to the American public. And he was upset about a couple other things. And I can understand that, being that young and just being exposed to all that. So. All right, trying to get to some of these questions down here. Ebians are androids. They call themselves Cephians, and the ones I know direct in contact. Okay. Yeah, there's several out there. I just never did it because there's not too much clarification on it. I mean, I know people have talked about it and this and that, and sometimes it could be people just making stuff up, but I'm not sure. Somebody they said, "Are you? I thought this is us from the future." I don't believe in that. That's just me. Don't let me mess you up with that. I mean, because I believe that we can travel forward in time, but I don't believe we can go back as far as I can go back 10 years ago, or anybody can. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because of the anti-gravity devices. And actually, when you go out in space, time slows down. I mean, we know that some planets out there, their one rotation is like 3 to 5 Earth years or more. So time is different, for certain things. And there is some stuff to kind of back that up, which I don't want to get too much in the Bible with time. But there's actually things that talk about time. And I don't know if you guys want to hear all that, because we are here to talk about this. But there are things that have been revealed to me about time and what actually time was, basically created for with that. But the part of the final battle will be us deciding to continue to love God and be with Him, or choose the demons. Yeah, it's going to be some stuff. Like I said, I think we're going to get some some disclosure this year. I think we're going to get more than we've gotten in the last 20, 30 years. I mean, this today was a big step for it. I know, bro, so they should have spoke about how we have the technology but can't replicate it yet. Well, we actually can. Um, I wouldn't say that we can't replicate it because you got to think about, I know, bro, about the ARVs, the alien reproduction vehicle. There was, I don't know if it was Ben Rich, but they said we actually mastered anti-gravity in the 50s. Mastered it meaning we knew how to work with it, we knew how to manipulate it. We just needed to get it into crafts. And that's where the ARV came from, alien reproduction vehicle. And that's where they had the typical almost flying saucer or top hat looking vehicle that had like the Tesla coils, several of them stacked up on top of each other, and they had mercury circulating inside of it. There's a whole video on it. I should probably do you guys a breakdown of the ARV. I still have not finished it, so y'all can hate me because I hate myself too. I haven't finished it. But the ARV is the alien reproduction vehicle, and the reason why Bob Lazar was brought over to S4 at Area 51 was to figure out how they can reverse engineer the sport model, but using earthly materials. And that was their job to do that. Maybe the sport model, what he terms the sport model, was far more fetched than what they saw with they tried to do with the ARVs or whatever. But a couple years after that, that's when Ben Rich started talking about, we now have the technology to take ET home. And he said, we figured out we had the equations wrong. There was more than one. And there's a video on that. It's very short, but he talks about that. And I think he was at a conference and he was talking about the different craft and stuff like that that we have and the SR-71 Blackbird. This is in the 90s. He said the last slide was, he held up a slide and it was a black disc-shaped object shooting up in the air like this, just how my hand is pointing. And he says, we now have the technology to take ET home. And everybody kind of laughed. But there was two people that were kind of curious and they went over to him. And I actually have this video. I need to try to put out there in the short, but there was two people that went over to him and they were talking to him about it. And he said, well, how does it function? How does it work? And he wasn't giving them the answer. But one thing he said, Ben Rich said to him was, how does ESP work? And he said he blurted out something like all points in time and space are connected. And he said, and that's how the craft works. So there could be that, of course, the craft can travel from at the speed of light or faster than the speed of light, but it could be certain points out here that they're actually hitting or traveling or tunnels or whatever that they're actually hitting. And if they get on that particular tunnel or wave, they can go from A to B quicker. I don't know, but I need to put that short out there so you guys can see that. So I know I rambled on, but that was the technology part. Yeah, we've been here. I think we've always been here. What the stuff is on Mars, I think they've covered that up. I still believe the face and stuff is up there. It's so weird, and you guys correct me in the comments. I have been looking at videos on Mars because the picture that we see is all pretty and beautiful. But when you actually look at it through the telescope, it's blurry. You can't see it. But yet you can see Saturn. You can see Jupiter. But you can't see Mars. It's so weird. And you guys can look that up. So, yes, that is true, Mike. Rose says, hey, man, whatever happened to the family who had the UFO crash land in their garden? We need to follow up on that. Are you talking about the Las Vegas incident? Because that's kind of been debunked. We're trying to get more information on that. But if you're talking about the Vegas incident, I'll get these other comments. I'm still 50-50 on that. So I just put that to bed. I just divorced that because the circle in their backyard, somebody went on Google Earth and they saw the same like circle imprint back there. We never saw clear footage of the beings walking up. I know that some people did some video enhancements and all that, but sometimes you can make yourself see something that's actually not there. So take that with a grain of salt there. Unless they come back and talk about it, because the kid wasn't the only one that saw it. There were several people back there. So why was all the pressure on him? Of course, he put a YouTube video and a TikTok video out, but why was all the pressure on him? He had other people around. So that's what made it, more suspect than anything else. So, I mean, I did a follow-up video on it and then I think there were certain flags on YouTube. So I was like, I'm not going to get flagged. So I just took it down. I think the person that actually was doing it was actually taking the news coverage and just putting it out there. And that's something you can't do. You can't just take a news coverage and just put it out there and like it's your video. You can review it and you can talk about it, but you can't just post it out there. And I think that's what got him kind of smacked on the hand with that. So, So Tucker Carlson had many segments on his show regarding UAPs. Okay. Yeah, why didn't they have Louis there? They didn't have him on that panel. That would have been interesting to have him. Maybe he declined it too. I don't know. Freddie said, thank God lives long because he's never done an interview. Well, Freddie, if you got some information, send it over to me. We might have to get you on here. Ricky says, I hope more people come forward, but a lot of these people with real evidence end up getting knocked off or something. Well, that may stop. I mean, they did kind of pass, I forgot what it's called, I heard it earlier, but they did kind of pass that law. So it may stop. And that maybe they can't, it's probably going to stop. I mean, I hope more people come forward. I hope more people are not afraid. And maybe they need to set up a funding for these people. Maybe... And I think that's something they should do. Set up a legit funding that all the money goes to these people in case something does happen to help them out. And don't get any new people. Just get the ones you have and set up this funding in case something does happen. But I think they're pretty good and safe to come forward, especially with the people that were in there today. I mean, it was some pretty powerful people that were in there that were talking about stuff that want to make moves, and they were serious. They weren't joking around or anything like that. So. Yeah, Mike, it could have been. Mike says, yeah, that's when the Las Vegas was demonic. It could have been. I just would like to see more evidence. I mean, personally, they said the being walked up to them. Turn your light on in the back. I mean, it's a lot that goes on this. So yeah, and I'm with you. I believe there are extraterrestrial. I believe there's something else going on with that. Trying to get through this stuff. I appreciate it. It's a great channel. Try to do what little I can. Trying to get to some people who haven't spoken too much. Yeah, the remote viewers in Mars is interesting. People have to be careful with that because when you remote view, sometimes you actually, if you want to believe in this or not, it's up to you, but your spirit actually leaves your body, so your shell is just here. And if you don't know how to come back, you could be in trouble. And you're also exposing yourself to a lot of things. I know people have tried to do it. I actually read a book back in 2000 on that, and I threw the book away. I thought I should have kept it because it talked about all kinds of stuff. But it talked to how to remote view or what's also called astral projecting. You can hear a lot from, if you just search on astral projecting, you'll hear a lot of witch doctors. You hear a lot of witches, a lot of people talk about being able to astral project. I actually know somebody who did that a lot when they were a kid. I actually know several people actually astral projected, and some of the stuff they experience is interesting. And I don't know if you guys want to hear that. If y'all want to hear some of these stories, just put down in the comments because I have nothing but time to talk to you guys tonight. I was gonna go live on my other channel, but I dedicate this channel more to UFO stuff, so I want to talk to you guys and get your input on this. So I know what says, yeah, that's good. I believe that they still parts of the ARV. I don't know. They've gotten to planet with the ARVs. Yeah, they have. Maybe not with the designs in the 50s, but remember the ARV also had an arm that came out of it. And they had oxygen tanks in there. So they probably did travel to a couple different planets, maybe in our solar system, with that ARV. I wouldn't take it past that they didn't do it. I think that what Bob Lazar worked on was something completely new and fascinating, and that's why they tried to reverse engineer that one. So there was a question by the Congresswoman Luna today where she asked Grush if other countries were working with the NHIs, and she didn't ask about ours. Do you think aliens and humans are working together? I do believe they are. I do believe it's at a higher power than just our regular government. I do believe there's a level above all that. And I don't believe they are. I know they are. It's just that plain and simple. I'm not going to say I believe that they're, I know they are. But there's no way we've got some of the technology we've gotten and some of the stuff I've seen and some of the craft that we've seen out there by just figuring that out ourselves. I do believe that there was an intervention at some point in time and someone gave them some technological advancements and we work with them. So Freddie says, I have military footage. Freddie, we wait for you. If you sent it over, I'll look at it when I get off this live. So, yeah, Ricky says, hire some real protection. Yeah. Smith says, I want to know if J. Rod the alien is real, and that should be a Y-Files episode. I'm not sure when you say J. Rod the alien. I've never heard of that before. So you may have to clarify that a little bit. So Sal hasn't said he worked on ARVs publicly, but I would like to know how far he has gotten with the technology he has shown and whether he has created a craft. I don't know. I'm pretty sure these people have. So, someone has have ever seen a UFO? Yes, I have. I've seen several. I saw one last week. I saw a couple of them actually last week. I just didn't film it because it was so far. It looked like stars. I saw them moving, and I was so tired. I said, I should film this, but it would have been horrible because it was at night, and I had my other phone with me, and we wouldn't have seen it. I probably should have filmed it though, but I saw them. It was like 2 or 3. And there were clouds up there. Like, these were the clouds, and I saw the little dots kind of flying like this. And the one I went behind the cloud, and I said, well, there they are, right over there. Maybe they're tuning into my brain over here. Get some tinfoil on my head. But yes, I've seen them. I saw them when I was a kid. I saw them several years ago. I saw them when I was walking outside a friend's house. She didn't see it. The one I saw, actually, if you think about it, the bluish, greenish light that they showed from the Vegas incident, and then I just did a YouTube short on, I put on a video on it too. That bluish, greenish, whitish, like it looked somewhat like that, but it was a lot bluer though. But it was sitting there, and when I walked out, I looked up, and it was there, and it shot off. It was quick, and it just started. And I said, "Oh my gosh, you see it?" And she didn't see it because she came out behind me. She thought I was crazy. So now seeing one clearly, like seeing one in broad daylight, no. I have seen one several years ago, and this one was very interesting, and that's why I put that cloud UFO video out. But this one was transparent. I mean, completely transparent. There was a cloud, and then all of a sudden the cloud circulated like a hurricane, and then something actually descended because the cloud kind of followed it down, and then it descended back up, and the cloud, like the particles of the cloud actually came down, and it like whirlwinded around. It was so interesting, and then it kind of went back up, and I was like, whoa, what was that? And I was driving, I kept trying to look back up at it. But whatever it was, it actually descended through the cloud somewhat, and then it stopped, and then it went back up. But it was completely transparent. That's what kind of startled me about it, because clouds don't do that. Unless it's a weather phenomenon we've never heard of. So someone says, I thought you were younger, bro. Ha ha ha. I'm young in nature. I still got my pump on, so I still run all the, I guess, the younger cats, in my division. So, but anyway, finally, I've been waiting 60 years and a half a dozen government UFO investigations to see this happen. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I think that we're going to get some disclosure this year, guys. I really do. I'm just telling you guys this and that. You can, at the end of the year, you can say, oh, you were wrong, JT. That's fine. But I think we're going to get disclosure at the end of this year. There's going to be some stuff that actually comes out at the end of this year. We've gotten a lot this year, guys. We really have gotten a lot. I mean, even with David Gersh going out, his video with News Nation was taken down. I actually downloaded that video. Don't know why it was taken down, but that video was taken down, and you kind of get flagged when you put it up. But I have it. I'm actually going to put it on my Instagram. The whole, I think it was about 10 to 15 minute interview. I'm going to put it on Rumble. But that was taken down. I don't know why, because he really didn't expose too much, but he answered questions. Do we have this? Yes. Do we have that? Yes. Can you tell me? No, I can't because it's classified. But he can confirm. He didn't say I can neither confirm nor deny. No, he just said yeah. So he said you've seen some too. Cool. If you got videos, send them over to me. So J-Rod, I have to look J-Rod the alien up to see what that's about. So yep, I think that's BG said Bob Azar was working with the element 115, which wasn't a naturally on Earth, and it still isn't. I think it actually occurs on the moon. I think they can find some on the moon if I remember someone saying that a while back. Um, but they were trying to reverse engineer the craft with our natural resources. So of course, at that time, and even now, Bob Lazar said we can create element 115. I think he said we can synthesize or whatever for, I think he said 500ths of a second, and then it dissipates. And it's only about the size of an atom, so it's nothing. So we can't even get a stable version of it, but we can actually create it. So J. Wright was the only living pirate code 94%. Okay, I'll have to definitely look that up. So yeah, I believe that too. I think there's A2Z0. Yeah, we need proof, and I think that with this one's a big step. I think some of the other governments may actually come forward and talk about this, which would be great if they did. So this is getting a little crooked because it's leaning over. There we go. Trying to make sure I get to some of these questions. Yeah, Salvador says patent. There's tons of patents. There's actually a lot more patents out there. A friend sent me an article where some agents were talking about stuff. There's tons of patents out there actually. If I created something like this, I wouldn't put a patent out there. I would just create it and do it. I'd try to find the funding. I'd say it for something else, and I would just do it, and then be flying it around like, "Hey, y'all, look what I did." Yeah, that cloud thing may have been some stealth technology. I mean, I've heard about that. I remember hearing about that early on, even when I was in the military. I did hear about, and they've talked about on the internet about. I remember hearing about a craft that had like particular mirrors on one side, and it could take from what was on the other side and reflect it like it was almost invisible, like a chameleon does. So I heard about that, and then they started talking about it more on the internet. But this particular tech, if that was real, it was completely invisible, guys. I mean, literally, it just, I only knew it was there because of the way the cloud circle. It's like if you took a glass, you took a spoon and you stared it up. That's what it looked like. It looked like you stared it up and it made like the little tornado, like whirlwind or whatever inside the glass. And then after you finish staring it and you take the spoon out, it twirls, and then all of a sudden it starts dissipating back up. That's exactly how it moved. And could I have filmed it? No, because I would have crashed. I never would have got it. And it happened so quick, but I saw the way the cloud kind of circulated around. That's what made it interesting. And I remember like it happened yesterday because it was something I had never seen before, and I was driving and I saw it because it was I don't even know if the cloud was unique, but it was kind of a weird cloud. And maybe it was something invisible inside the cloud. I don't know. Yeah, we do need scientists next. That's why they should have had Bob Lazar on there. I think that if we get scientists involved without evidence, they're gonna deny it because scientists need facts. They need evidence. They need something to put their hands on. They need to feel it. They need to. So I think it's good we don't have them just yet. Now, if we get some of this material from abductees that have particular metal that they found in them or trade, whatever it may be, if we start getting some of that, that'll be good. But we need more than testimony. We need photos. I know that some Billy Graham stuff, like I said before, there's been controversy. People have unsubscribed to me and not liked me because of Billy Graham. I said, I do believe he saw something. He probably got a video or two or maybe a photo, but all the stuff he got, I just don't believe everything he got. I've even had a guy just blow up on me, but it is what it is. There has been one photo that he took that they did say was legit, and it looked like an ARV. I think that Billy Myers saw an alien reproduction vehicle, and he's still alive today, right? So get him out there. But I think it's going to get too far-fetched if you get people out there because they're going to talk about things that, I don't know, I think it'd be too far-fetched. But get some of these other people out there, so. Why isn't the physics community pissed about the secrets we have fake? I don't know. I think, and I've known this for a while, that the laws of physics that we know is just to keep our brains suppressed and keep us kind of in this box. But these craft define the laws of physics as we've been defined or we've been taught. I mean, they mentioned it. I believe they mentioned it today, and I've heard it before in other talks and stuff. And we're still flying airplanes. They need to have air sucked it in, throw some fuel, it blows out the back and it moves forward. Where these craft don't. I mean, they're running off of electricity, high voltage. They use elements that aren't found on this planet. I still don't understand how the element 115 works, but Bob Lazar said the element 115 had to be done a certain way. I think he said it was cut into like cylinders and then it's like stacked, just like this. And then once it's stacked, it's cut into a cone shape, and then that's inserted inside one of the reactors, is what we're calling it. And that's what helps power the craft. So you have a craft that's possibly powered by element 115. Then you have one that's powered by a big Tesla coil, which is the ARV to try to reverse engineer. And who knows what else is going on. You got the Mercury craft. I mean, it could be a million and one things. So yeah, so he drove by Ohio, drove by um, about a plant. And he said it was gated up and away from the road, all top secret. Like, yeah, there's plenty of stuff out there. I told you guys about the guy that flew an airplane and he went to kind of restricted airspace because I forgot what was going on, but as he flew over it, he said he saw the ground like unzip a little bit like this and he saw like a little city underneath it and then it closed back up. And he was like, what the heck? And then he said immediately, I think he said it was a F-18 or something, came and escorted him out. And that was a no-fly zone from that point. So there's probably a lot of stuff out here. I mean, I think when it gets exposed, we'll learn about the DUMBs, Defense Underground Military Bases. I think we'll learn about all that stuff. So I bet people are 150 with S4 are pissed right now. They're probably not because they're still secure. I mean, ain't nobody going up. I did see a video where a woman tried to walk back there. I don't know what happened to her, but it said, "Do not go beyond this point." She just thought she was the bomb, and she just kept walking back there. And then the video cut off. I do believe they will use deadly force if you go back there. It's restricted Air Force Base. I mean, even the president can't get back there. So, no problem. I appreciate you watching. Really good info on there. Yeah. Yeah, I hope it does, Anthony. It would be fascinating. And that, I mean, it's gonna be, and I hate to say this, it's gonna be Star Trekky like, which that would be fascinating to start to have it and just expose it. I mean, okay, it's gonna throw some loops out there and stuff, but it's gonna be pretty fascinating too. But I think that some of these higher ups are gonna have to answer for some of the stuff that has happened to other people that have disappeared, and they're gonna have to give an answer for that. And then all these crazy budgets they got out there, and I think that that's what they don't want to answer to because they're at a level they don't have to answer to anybody. I mean, so oh yeah, he said it before. Bob said that alien tech was far beyond anything we could ever have. He said it was hundreds of years, if not even more. So there was a historic. So glad got to see you. If you can download it and save it because I did. So yeah, Anthony, there's stuff out there to study. There's documents out there. Some of them are blacked out, some of them are not. But you can look up a lot of patents on UFOs. They've been coming out since the 30s and like let's just the 40s when they were actually doing patents on stuff. So I don't know. So I think we retrieved the craft and want to weaponize it. Yeah, and I believe we probably already have. I believe we've weaponized it and all that. I mean, Dr. Greer's meeting on some stuff. One thing I was also fascinated about was he talked about there was a certain area where on this planet where it's built for communication. He said because since these craft can fly faster than the speed of light, they have to have a way to communicate with them too. So the communication has to be even faster than that. And he broke it down a little bit. He had some guy in there talking about it. It was pretty fascinating, which would make sense. I mean, we got an airplane flying 3, 4, 500. Some of them are a couple thousand miles per hour. We can still communicate with them. Now, these craft are flying outer space, maybe to other planets and solar systems if possible. I would be so curious of how we're communicating with them. You know, are we sending information, data packets out there that are going faster than the speed of light and that they're getting that or what? That would be interesting to find out how that communication works because we're still stuck in our little box of communication and, you know, things like that. I mean, we can barely get cell phone connections in certain areas. So I can imagine if they were at a different planet, they can actually communicate with them. So Jay says the military industrial complex needs enemies, real or imagined. Yeah. Dreamland Resort got raided. Okay. I have to see that. If you got that information, send it over to me in email or something. I'd like to take a look at that if it got raided. So Jay says 1947, the integrated circuit board was patented. Yep. Do you really know the story of Dual's base? I'm not sure what you mean by that. At the last comment, I feel like they mentioned a president did go to S4 back in the day, but he didn't find anything. Maybe it was Clinton, but the president can declare it a national emergency and find out if he wanted. I think they've tried that before, and even the presidents couldn't get up in there. I think that secretly they go there. Certain ones do. I know Roosevelt knew a lot, but they didn't have Area 51 back then. So I know that there was a lot with that. So. Okay, I have to look up the rate of the FBI did on there earlier. So the dual base, I think I know what you're talking about with that. My brain's kind of on a brain fart with that. I'm just still thinking about this whole congressional meeting we had today and all that. So the Demon Core, yeah, I remember that, and that's in my brain. I got a picture in the documentary on it. So. Radioactive spirit, maybe this the source of free energy they keep talking about. I think it's a little bit more in depth than that, but I don't know, and I don't think a lot of us know unless we've actually seen it. We can look at videos and get people's certain information on it, but I think there's a lot more going on to a lot of that than we even know about. But I think, like I said, we'll get disclosure this year. So Raptor said, "Did you see?" I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Is that a show or a video, or is that something I need to look at out there? And guys, I'll probably have to get off of here in just a few minutes. We've been live for over an hour. I was just gonna go live for an hour. No, it's a movie. Let me look that up real quick while I got you on here. Because obviously I haven't seen it. If I'm like, what is that? Oh, here it is right here. Oppenheimer trailer. Oh, I know what you're talking about now. No, I haven't seen that yet. If is it any good? I thought that would be kind of a movie I had to watch here at home. I didn't want to. I saw Mission Impossible, the new one, and I wasn't that impressed with the one before that was better. I thought this was gonna have. It was interesting with the AI tech, but I think they try to do too much with this one, and that was just it wasn't the best Mission Impossible. So yeah, about the bomb. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I just saw it now, so I have not seen it. Something I'll probably watch at home or stream with once it comes available on like HBO Max or whatever. So it definitely should be okay. Maybe we weren't are new. Maybe we aren't in there. Really, maybe we are in theirs. Yeah, it could be. It's a whole thing with reality and time. I mean, it really is. I mean, time is nothing just but a countdown to something. That's all it is. I mean, you're born and then you're here for a certain amount of time and then it's done with this. I know that spiritually time is different because there really is no time like we count it here on Earth with that. But I said when you go to outer space, that's why when the astronauts come back, I think they take a couple of days to kind of get used back to the Earth's gravitational pull in a different time because when you go in space, even if you're an astronaut, time kind of slows down there. So it's not the same time like we would calculate down here with seconds and minutes and hours. So you guys are putting a couple more questions. You guys want me to stay on? You guys got any other questions or anything to talk about? All right, take it easy. Have a good night. I'll probably get off here short pretty soon too. Oh, I ain't trying to touch them aliens or demons or interdimensional beings. I ain't trying to do nothing with them. I'll be the one to be like, get back. Let me take a picture first. So I won't be trying to mate with them. Just watch Moment of Contacts. I think I've seen that. So appreciate that. Hunt on the dollar. I appreciate that. I'll try to. I'm actually going to get into, when I get off with you guys, I'm actually going to go back and watch this 2.5 hour briefing, and I'm going to break it down into segments, and I'm actually going to do some video clips on this because I think it's going to be interesting to point out some of the major things I think that are important for that, and we can see that. So no problem, Jay. Appreciate you joining in. All right, we are losing a couple people. We got about 19 to 20 people on. I don't know if you guys want to stay on for another 4 or 5 minutes. We can stay on until 1:20, or we can go ahead and just exit this. It's going to be your discretion because it's you guys' channel. You guys help me out. A lot of you guys don't realize that people send me stuff. I'm so busy with the 1,000,001 things that I need to start putting more than 5% into this channel, but I try to get stuff out. But today kind of got me excited. I'm not going to lie. Today got me saying I need to at least talk to you guys for a few minutes who can chime on to find out what was going on. So, are you still there? Okay. I thought you guys were leaving. I'll probably get off here in just a few minutes. I know some people are asking me for my other channel to kind of go live and talk about it, but you guys give some interesting comments because you kind of know more about the phenomena than my other channel does. Not to insult them, but you guys actually know some history, and I don't have to explain a lot of things. And you guys bring some stuff that I have never heard of, I didn't think about, or anything like that. So that's why I wanted to spend a lot more energy with you guys on this channel to talk to you guys before I went over to my other channel a little bit. So yeah, we'll stay on for a few more minutes. We'll stay on for about another 3 or 4 minutes, and then I'll get off and I'll get on my other channel. It's JTRC, so we'll probably go live over there in just a minute. It's got I think the subscriber count's like 82, 83,000. This has got 7,000. This one's growing because actually we're coming up on a year on this channel. So I think it's done pretty good in about a year. I need to do a little bit more to kind of grow a little more, but I think it's done pretty good in about a year or so. Yeah, Jay, I am too. I mean, this congressional hearing, it was very important. It was something important to do. So I think this was a huge step. As regards, a lot of people are hating on it. It was huge. Actually, it really was. The questions that were asked, even though they were kind of the same ones we've heard 1,000,001 times, they were actually good. They were actually really good questions because they needed to be asked again because some of those people aren't aware. Some people haven't heard answers for it, or some of those people just wanted to get out to the public. They wanted people who have never heard it before. Just because we've heard it 1,000,001 times doesn't mean Jane Doe hasn't heard it before. So appreciate that, Ricky. Appreciate that, Freddie. All right, y'all. I am going to get off of here. I'm going to go on my other channel, JTRC, in about 20, 30 minutes. I'm going to grab a quick bite to eat. And then I'm going to get on my other channel. If you guys want to go live over there, it'll be another discussion in just a minute. I won't spend as much time, but I want to give you guys most of the energy that I allocate for this tonight. And then I got to get doing some videos. I really got to get some of this stuff out because it's very interesting. So, yep, Kate, those are questions I would ask too. So like I said, they asked the stuff that I would have asked, the basic questions, and certain people asked more questions than others. And it was, hey, this is confidential. I can't release this yet, but I can behind closed doors, which is, I'm pretty sure they talked about that. So that'll be pretty interesting. So, all right, y'all, I appreciate you guys joining. Try to get some stuff out for you guys. Try to get some of these user videos out. I'll try to see some stuff that was sent over to me. And I'll see you guys. I may see you tonight. I may put out a video tonight, so we'll see. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, sending me information, and the open, good discussions. There's no arguing, anything like that. So I do appreciate that. So see you guys in a couple of days.